There's so many of us. And I have a dear friend that would like to tell her story. And her name is Merlie Evans. Greet her.
Hello. I'm Merlie Evans Williams. And my husband was Medgar Evers. My husband was a good man. He had a big heart. And he was tired of black people being mistreated and disrespected. Little girls were being raped and murdered. People were being lynched. Women were being beaten. All because of a word called racism. And my husband wanted to make a change. Regardless of any threats on his family, on his life, he wanted to make change. He became a field secretary for the NAACP. And white people were afraid of us in those days, and I'd like to believe that they still are today. June 12th, 1963. I remember that day like it was yesterday. He was working and he was coming home late from a meeting with the NAACP lawyers. And I was so glad he was coming home.
Hang in there, honey. It's all right.
And I heard him drive up into the driveway. I heard a door slam. I heard a gunshot. They shot him in the back. 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 And Medgar once told our children that if they hear any strange noise outside, to get down the floor. And that's what my babies did. But I ran to that front door, and being a strong man that Medgar was, he made his way from the car door to the front door, and he collapsed. And he passed away about an hour later. I once told him that if anything were to happen to him, I will make sure that that person or those persons will be brought to justice. And that's exactly what I did. It might have taken 30 years, but I made sure that Mr. De La Becca was brought to justice. My Medgar. He was a great man doing a great work. Great people. He was well respected by many. But not everybody felt that way. I would wish that in his cold-blooded, curly heart that he would learn to respect my husband. Thank you.
Good evening. Well, good for everybody to be out tonight. Glad to see everybody. My name is Correta Scott King. quite sure all of you know who my husband is. The late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You know, Martin was a great man, doing a great work. But when he heard about that situation, I stand corrected. When he heard about that mess going on down in Birmingham, Alabama, he could not take it. Somebody had to get up and do something immediately. You see, in Birmingham, Alabama, blacks had to sit on the back of the bus because that was the law in Birmingham, Alabama. Period. It wasn't up for discussion. We're not going to have a vote on it. It was the law. You got on the bus, get to the back. Let me give you an example of how this would take place. A black person would be standing at the bus stop. Bus pull up. Okay? The person would get on the bus and pay their money. Then they would have to get off of the bus and run to catch the bus at the next stop to gain entry to get back on the bus to go to the back of the bus to sit down on the bus. Does that make any sense to you? Isn't that about the craziest mess you ever heard of? But that was the law in Birmingham, Alabama. Now, sometimes some of the bus drivers did show compassion, did show some mercy, and they wouldn't drive away so fast. They would slow down so that the people that had paid could catch up to the bus and gain entry and get on. But then, too, you had those bus drivers that were marinated in evil. Just saturated, soaked to the bone, full of hatred. As soon as the people paid their money and got off, they would speed off. And the poor person didn't get a chance to get on the bus and got ripped off. Talk about stupid. That entire law is totally crazy. Martin was a great man, and he was so compassionate and caring about people being treated fairly. I said people. Not just black people, white, Native American, Asian, Hispanic, people being treated fairly. But while he was away on business, trust me, I caught my share of drama. Good Lord. Death threats every day. Crosses being burned in my front yard. Oh, and let's not forget the bricks that came hailing through my windows, nearly missing my children by inches. My God, I didn't have any peace at all. No peace. Constant drama. Then one day, everything kind of came to a halt. It's a day that I'll never forget as long as I live. It tore me up, it tore my family up, and I believe it tore our nation up. On the 4th of April, 1968, that is a day I'll never forget as long as I live, because that was the day that my husband, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., was assassinated. A great man doing a great work. And they shot him cold-blooded